Jon Jones is back this Saturday night, UFC 285. This will be Jon Jones' first fight in over 3 years, and he is making his heavyweight debut, which MMA Fighting did a really great retrospective look at Jon Jones and his talk of moving up to heavyweight. You know, it was 2012 that he first talked about the idea of moving up to heavyweight. It's taken him 11 years, and he is finally going to make the move up to heavyweight. Do you have any interest in this fight, Way?
Maybe mildly in the result, just to kind of hear, how good he looks. Just from an athletic standpoint, I'm very curious to see how an elite level athlete ages due to inactivity and whether or not he can maintain, his abilities with that time. So I'm interested in hearing the result, but not really so much to watch the fight.
Yeah, this is one. There's so many unknowns. It would be very hard to pick against Jon Jones, but I would just stay away from this fight if you were someone that bets on fights. It's been 3 years. It's a new weight class, and with that comes so many questions. How he was not the fastest light heavyweight to begin with, but he's going up obviously to a slower division. Cyril Gane is, by the way, on the countdown show, they bring up Cyril Gane's loss to Francis Ngannou and the editing job they did. They were able to recap this fight without saying the name Francis Ngannou or showing him on the screen. And
what? Wow.
It was amazing. Like, you have to watch this blurb from the countdown show. They literally do not say his name or show Francis Ngannou, but they do cover Gane's loss a year ago.
A lot of close-ups, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. Arena shots and close-ups of Gane looking disappointed. So just enough that they could say, we covered it. But it was like he fought himself. He lost to a ghost that night. Yeah, unbelievable. But, Gane was out-wrestled in that fight by Francis Ngannou, who is hardly the wrestler that Jon Jones is. But with Jones, I actually watched his last 3 fights this week, the Anthony Smith fight, and then Thiago Santos, who blew out both his knees in the fight in July of 2019, which was a very close fight, even with the injuries that Jones won by split decision. And then the Dominic Reyes fight, which I'm definitely in the minority. The night of the fight, I scored it 3-2 for Jones. Many scored it for Reyes. And I watched it again this week. I still narrowly give it 3-2 to Jon Jones. But it was the most human that Jon Jones looked in a fight. And there is certainly a style here of Cyril Gane. If he comes out and puts on the pressure immediately and gives Jones just forces him to react, that I think that is the key early in the fight. But there are just so many questions about Jon Jones. He's 35 years old now, and this is hardly someone who took these 3 years off and has lived a life of serenity. It's not getting a whole lot of focus this week, but this is a guy that in 2021 was arrested on a domestic battery charge in Las Vegas when he was at a hotel with his fiance and children, and officers arrived, and his then fiance, had like a swollen lip, and blood was seen, which she denied that there was anything physical beyond hair pulling by Jones. But ultimately, the domestic battery charge got dropped, and then he pleaded no contest because when the police found him and arrested him, he started banging his head onto the police vehicle, onto the hood of the police car, and that's a felony, and ended up pleading no contest to that, got a fine, and had to attend anger management. But, like Jon Jones, it has been constant issues in his life that you have to wonder what toll that takes on him, where that God-given talent got him through so many fights. And at this point, 35, it's like your body starts to turn on you at a certain age. And when that natural ability that you've relied on, and not to say, like, the guy was a super hard worker, very talented fighter, but, the first Gustafsson fight, like, he pretty much said he barely prepared for that fight, and he won this war. And that's your natural talent getting you through tough situations. But very curious to see how big this fight is. Jon Jones, it's typically him with a big opponent like a Daniel Cormier that has done the biggest business. And Cyril Gane is not the biggest opponent for him name-wise. But certainly a winnable fight for Cyril Gane because we just don't know what to expect. And if Jon Jones loses, there's going to be the talk that his time is gone and he blew all this time outside of the cage. And if he wins, he will be most people's consensus top pound for pound fighter. Like, that is the degree of which we are talking about for this fight. So certainly a lot of big ramifications. And a win, it certainly positions him well for an even bigger fight at heavyweight, whether it's a Stipe Miocic or somebody else. There's not a whole host of heavyweights for him, but this is for the vacant heavyweight title as well. Valentina Shevchenko is taking on Alexa Grasso for the flyweight title, which Shevchenko is the second biggest favorite on this card. Grasso is a very good boxer. I just think her style is tailor-made for Shevchenko, who's a great counter striker. And I think that this, as much as Valentina Shevchenko looked not as spectacular in her last fight with Talia Santos, I think in this fight, this should be a bounce back for her, and I think would be a big favorite on this card. One name that I think could be a big star coming out of this main card is Shavkat Rakhmonov. He is 4-0 in the UFC, and he is taking on Jeff Neal. And Shavkat Rakhmonov is one of the most unassuming fighters you are going to see. He has such a calm style about him that it almost lulls his opponent into just... This guy is like the cocaine bear of MMA, where you think he's this like just calm, relaxing individual, and boom, you're in his grasp, and he slaps on a guillotine, or like, he is a remarkable fighter, and he is taking on Jeff Neal, who's a real serious test for him. But Rakhmonov he's had all stoppages thus far in his UFC fights. He's coming off a win against Neil Magny, but this guy is somebody to certainly keep your eyes on at 170 pounds. And if he beats Jeff Neal, that will catapult him to a major fight at 170 pounds. And it would seem that Neil Magny is a quality win at welterweight. Jeff Neal will be that much more impressive, I think, as well. And being on a big main card, I think that will be a lot of people's exposure to Shavkat Rakhmonov. And the other fight I just want to mention is another potential star in the making, and that is Bo Nickel, who was a 3-time national champion at Penn State, wrestling at 184 pounds and then at 197 pounds. He's only had 3 fights. This is his first official UFC fight, and his total fight time has been 2 minutes and 27 seconds. He won twice on Dana White's Contender Series, and he has been able to, you would think that, okay, high-level wrestler, he's got that foundation. He has got striking, he has got submission skills, and he is a very marketable fighter. So he is, I think he's a minus 1,400 favorite or so on some books. He's a massive favorite against Jamie Pickett, who 13-8 is pretty much here to be a body for Bo Nickel to go through. But there's always that question mark of someone that has had so little fight time, of when they get hit, if they go deep into a fight. But with Bo Nickel, just given his resume, I don't think there's too many concerns for this fight or his conditioning, but he could certainly be a big name at middleweight moving forward. So overall, this is a the main card is outstanding, and even on the undercard, you've got Cody Garbrandt, who's in a must-win situation, Dricus du Plessis, who has been he's coming off a pair of wins and has won 6 straight, taking on Derek Brunson. So a very good card on Saturday night, in particular the main card as well. So I will have the popcorn ready and drinks. So I will expect your arrival anytime between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m.
And when is your post show with Eric?
Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Eric and I will be live. The Revolution pre-show, I will call it.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right.
Busy day
Cool.
on Sunday. Yes. So we have Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time is the UFC post show. And then Sunday night, we have a live and free Revolution post show. What time do you think we will be going live at on Sunday night after the Iron Man match?
My estimate, I'm going to say about 11:45, something like that.
That would be wonderful. If we're on by 11:45, I'll be very happy. If that's the case. After midnight, I mean, that's when my body's going to start to deteriorate, but we will see.